Why do some teams execute effortlessly, while others, equally talented, struggle to get anything done? Same resources, same strategy, same goals, but completely different results. Here is the surprising truth. Every team has an alignment stack. The only question is yours working for you or against you? And in this video, I'm going to break down the 5-layer alignment stack that determines whether your team executes with clarity or collapses into confusion. And here is the part most leaders never see. Execution doesn't break down at the surface. It breaks down within the stack. Stay with me, because once you see these layers, you'll start spotting execution breakdown instantly. Let me tell you something most organizations never realize. Every team operates on 2 levels. One, what is visible. These are the meetings, the processes, the tools. Number 2, what is invisible. This is where we have people, how people interpret priorities, how decisions are made, what people believe they own. And here is the key. Execution is driven by the invisible level. That is what drives execution. Think about a skyscraper. What you see is the building. What determines whether it stands is the foundation. The alignment stack is your team's foundation. It's your team's foundation. Here is the model. Every executing team has 5 layers of alignment. Number 1, clarity of priority. Number 2, clarity of decision making. Number 3, clarity of ownership. Number 4, clarity of execution flow. Number 5, clarity of feedback and learning. And here is the rule. If one layer breaks, execution weakens. If multiple layers break, execution collapses. Let's break this down. This is the top layer, but it influences everything below it. Ask your team, what matters most right now? To get different answers, your stack is already unstable, because people don't execute instructions. They execute priorities as they understand them. Misaligned priorities don't create delay. They create competing execution. It's like a football team where one player is attacking, another is defending, another is waiting. Same team, different priorities, no execution. Let's go deeper. Let's now go deeper. Even if priorities are clear, how do people decide what to do? Ask, how do you decide what looks good looks like? How decide what looks good looks like? Here is what you find out. Different answers like speed versus quality, innovation versus risk, cost versus impact. When decision criteria differ, execution becomes inconsistent. Even inside the same process. It's like a team cooking the same recipe, but everyone defines done directly. You don't get one dish. You get 5 versions. 5. Now, We move to accountability. Ask, who wants this outcome? If the answer is unclear, the stack weakens immediately because ownership defines three things: who decides, who follows through, who is accountable. Execution doesn't fail because people don't care. It fails because ownership is diffused. That is why it fails. If everyone is driving the car, no one is steering it. No one is at the steering. Now, we get into process, but from a different lens. Not what are the steps, but do people understand how work actually flows? Because here is the reality. Most breakdowns happen in teams. They happen between teams, first of all. They happen between handoffs. They happen between expectations. That is where the most breakdown happens. Execution doesn't break in tasks. It doesn't. It breaks in transitions. That is where execution breaks down. Think of a relay race. It is not the running that loses the race. It is the baton handoff. The baton handoff. Here is the layer most teams ignore. Ask, how do we know if we are on track? How do we know? If feedback is delayed, inconsistent, misinterpreted, then the team cannot adjust. The team cannot adjust. Without aligned feedback, misalignment compounds over time. Without aligned feedback, misalignment compounds over time. It's like driving without a dashboard. You don't know your speed. You don't know your direction. You just keep going, but in a blind way. Just keep driving blindly. Here is what most leaders don't realize. The stack doesn't break all at once. It breaks layer by layer. First, priorities drift. Then decisions diverge. Then execution slows. Then results decline. And by the time you notice, you think it's a performance problem. But it is not. It is an alignment problem. It is not a performance problem, it is an alignment problem. This is what high executive teams do differently. They don't just manage work, they manage the stack. Before fixing execution, they ask, are priorities aligned? Are decisions consistent? Is ownership clear? Does execution flow make sense? Is feedback understood the same way? You don't fix execution by pushing harder. You fix it by stabilizing the stack. That is how you fix execution, by stabilizing the stack. Here is your challenge. Take one struggling team or initiative in your organization. Run a quick alignment stack diagnosis. Ask 5 simple questions. 1. What matters most right now? Number 2. How do you decide what looks good? What looks good looks like? Who wants the outcome? Where does work slow down? How do you know if you are succeeding? Let me repeat that. I believe it's important. Said, here is a challenge I'm throwing to you. Take one struggling team or initiative. Run a quick alignment diagnosis on your stack. Ask 5 simple questions. 1. What matters most right now? Number two, how do you decide what looks good looks like? Who owns the outcome? Where does work slow down? And five, how do you know if you are succeeding? Then compare the answers. What you see is not random confusion. It is structured misalignment. Not random confusion, but you see structured misalignment. Let me leave you with this. Execution is not about effort. It's not about talent. It's not even about strategy. It's about alignment layer by layer. Of course, every team has a stack. The only question is your stack strong enough to support execution or fragile enough to collapse under pressure? If this gave you a new lens on execution, subscribe for more insights on how to eliminate execution breakdown using the organizational community alignment model. Because execution isn't something you force, it is something you align. Because execution is not something you force, it is something you align.